And what IVs do basically is, I wonder if Sableye. I'm not going to chance it. I'm actually just going to bring out Pidgeot. The Nether is a great place to farm up Ghastlies and on occasion Haunters as well. Which if we find a Haunter, that's actually worth 2 base points. So then we would get the 4 bonus and we would get 12 EVs. So if we find at least one Haunter, we only have to beat 25 Pokemon in total. Assuming that we only find one Haunter. Because that's going to give us our 2-point difference that we need. But basically with EVs, the way that translates is for every 4 EVs that you have in a stat, at level 100, they actually get spread out. So, you know, if I have 252 EVs at level 1 somehow, let's pretend, I'm not going to see all those bonus stats just boom, I've got like the super powered level 1 Pokemon. But what it means is at level 100, it's going to get 1 stat point per 4 EV points. So it makes a big difference when you have a Pokemon that's maxed out in an EV tree. It makes a very large difference to how powerful your Pokemon is at level 100 in that given stat, because it's a noticeable difference in power if you properly EV train it and if you don't properly EV train it. Because you notice with my Houndoom, the stats were just everywhere, so I didn't really have any focus, and I had EVs in attack and in special attack, even though with a good Houndoom I would probably be speccing it for just physical attack and not worrying about the special attack aspect of it. So properly EV training is very important if you want your Pokemon to be as good as they can be. But then the IVs are a little bit different than EVs. Of course, like I said, EVs are going to be 4 points equals 1 stat point at level 100. And then IVs, the way they work is every IV point at level 100 is 1 stat point. And once again, this does scale up over time. So, you know, you're not going to get that full bonus, you know, at level 1. It's basically going to be spread out. And for example, at level 50, you'll be getting 1 stat point for every every 2 IV points, and then you know you'll get the other half by level 100, for example. But basically, IVs are every single point of IV is going to translate to one stat point. Oops, I don't want to start fighting him with that Pokemon. Is going to translate to 1 stat point at level 100. So, you know, whenever I got 31 in HP, that means I'm going to have 31 HP higher at level 100 than a Pokemon that had 0 IVs in HP. Okay, so every little bit helps. I mean, the IVs, that's why I'm not as worried about min-maxing the IVs. If we take care of the EV training, that's a bigger impact. The nature also, bigger impact. The reason we went with modest nature, of course, is because it boosts special attack, it lowers physical attack, and the amount is by 0.1 of that Pokemon's total, their total stat points. Okay, so we're basically gaining 0.1 to our special attack, and so basically 10% boost, and we're losing 10% to our attack. Is the best way to think about it. So basically, that's just a base stat increase. And I can't remember how many Ghastlies I've beaten. I think this will be number 6. Generally, you kind of want to keep an eye on it. I think more so in Pixelmon than in Pokemon games, because I could just run to the computer and just do judge function, and it doesn't tell you specifically how many EVs that you have, but I don't know why I sent out Pidgeot. Oh well. Poison Sting, sure, we'll lose Leer. See, the Nether is a really nice place. Plus, it's so open, you can kind of just like freely fly around and find your Pokemon pretty easy. And then let's see, we talked about natures, we talked about IVs, we talked about EVs. I don't know why I keep sending out Pidgeot. And I know this Drillbur is going to want to fight me. I just know it. Leave me alone. I don't want anything to do with you. I'm only here for Ghastlies. There's one. Those berries are in Pixelmon, by the way, so we can decrease. I'm not going to go over those right now, but there are berries that you can grow and use them on your Pokemon, and they will decrease a particular EV stat by 10 points. So if you messed up, you can lower it with those berries. So, oh, and then base stats. Base stats vary from Pokemon to Pokemon, and basically each Pokemon is going to have a base amount that by the time it hits level 100, it's going to have these stats. Okay, so for example, I've got Nidoking's pulled up right here. Nidoking is a base stat of 505, and so he's going to have, at level 100, and this is not counting natures, this is not counting EVs, this is not counting IVs. That's assuming that everything's at 0 and his nature is obsolete. And there are some natures that are obsolete because they raise and lower the same stat and they end up doing absolutely nothing. You have to be really... Natures are a big impact. That's why if you're only going to do... Well, EVs are a big impact too. I was going to say if you only do one thing, but I would suggest you do EVs and natures if you don't even worry about the IV aspect. Getting the right nature and getting the correct EVs is kind of important, I feel like, personally. But basically... At level 100, with no IVs, EVs, or natures, Nidoking would have 505 stats in total. And that would be, his HP would be at 81. And that is a, and with, by 81 HP, that means 81 to the stat. And he wouldn't have just 81 HP. The lowest HP that he can have at level 100, and that's assuming that you have no EVs in HP, no nature affecting HP, and no IVs in HP. Then his HP would be at 272. Okay, but his HP stat would be at 81. His attack would be at 102, which would translate to 188 in its attack. His defense would be at 77, which would be 143 in attack. I mean in defense. His special attack would be 85, which is 157 in special attack. His special defense would be 75, which is 139 in special defense, and his speed would be 85, which is 157. And that's the lowest possible, of course, that you could possibly have on those, assuming that everything else is obsolete. So, there's a lot to take into account. Oh, and it's evolving. Awesome. And I'm not going to stop its evolution. You can hit cancel here. I was hitting cancel on Fanpy every single level up because Fanpy really wanted to turn into Donphan, but I wasn't going to allow it because then it would lose the pickup ability, which I don't want to do. That would be no fun. Okay, so our Nidoran male evolved into a Nidorino. And at this point, we could just go ahead and evolve it. It's not going to hurt anything if we just go ahead and get it up to evolution, which as soon as... Let me see... It learns, what, Thrash at evolution, it learns Mega Hornet 55. Okay, I'm in no rush to evolve it, so I'm not going to take off right now and stop what I'm doing to go evolve it. I did it again, I don't know why. And I can't let Pidgeot faint, I cannot. Which it shouldn't. But I need to stop doing that. Pidgeot's my flight Pokemon. But anyway, so there's a lot to take into account because basically whenever you're looking at breeding, you're looking at IVs, you're looking at EVs, you're looking at natures. Base stats are just set, so it's not really going to matter as, I mean, you know, you look at those and say, okay, this Pokemon's strong in this or that. I will say that Nidoking is actually built to be more of a physical attacker than a special attacker, but we're building a special attacker, which I'll get into why that is a little bit later. I promise I haven't lost my mind. Its base stats are built to be physical, but it can just as easily be a special attacker, and actually even better in that aspect if it's built up right. So you have all these different things in breeding, and then on top of that, you also have your ability. You know, we got the special ability on Nidoran Male, and the special ability on Nidoran Male is Hustle. Boosts the attack stat but lowers accuracy. That's actually going to change. As soon as we evolve it into Nidoking, it's actually going to get a new ability. That's why we got the hidden ability. Boosting attack and losing accuracy isn't really a good trade-off, to be perfectly honest, because that means you're going to stop hitting as often, and hitting the opponent is more important than having a little bit of a boost on damage. At least in my opinion, I hate missing with a passion. And it just means that you're setting yourself up to get wrecked by dodgy type opponents. Because you're not going to be able to hit them at all as soon as they start using double teams or sand attacks, things like that on you. But you want to take into account your ability. You also want to take into account egg moves, and we're not going to get into egg moves with our Nidoran family because I don't need to. But actually, in some of the upcoming Pokemon that we're going to be breeding, we are going to get into egg moves. Now, if you're familiar with Pokemon breeding, then this is all probably like basic intro to breeding stuff, but if you're new to breeding, hopefully this will help you out a little bit, because I know even some people that have been playing Pokemon since the beginning, a lot of them play it a lot more casually, so you don't worry about the breeding and stuff. I got into breeding because I love breeding. It's just a lot of fun to me. So generally, once I have access to like an Everstone, and especially once I have access to Destiny Knot, I stop using wild Pokemon. I'll catch wild Pokemon, I'll breed them, and I'll use bred Pokemon for my personal use. But like usually Destiny Knot and Everstone are like later into the game, if not end game. And then as soon as I get Destiny Knot and Everstone, you can always tell because I just dump off all my Pokemon and I just have eggs all of a sudden. Kind of like what I've done here, where I don't have Empoleon. I have no intentions on using Empoleon, at least at the moment. I might use him long term because he is a really good Pokemon. Really, I only actively used Empoleon until about level 20. Well, of course, he wasn't Empoleon at the time, but starter Pokemon is a starter Pokemon. I usually don't use them too long. Now, Ultra Sun and Moon, it's a little bit different because I have a level 100 Decidueye that I kept. That was my catching Pokemon that had False Swipe and everything. But Decidueye is just awesome, though. Being a Ghost Grass mix, it's just great. But yeah, so anyways, I'm going to fly around. I'm going to look for Ghastlies. And it might take a little while. And once I think that I've beaten about 25, 26 of them, we'll head back up and move on to the next stage. Now, there are items like proteins and stuff that you can use. Honestly, I tend to think of them as being just more expensive than they're worth. So if I have them, I'll use them. But I never go out of my way to get them because they tend to have a high cost value or be kind of rare. And they only boost a Pokemon's EVs by 10 up to a maximum of 100. And honestly, they're just never worth the cost. It's just, if you're just really rolling in money, that fighting a couple battles is worth just a ton of money to dump on proteins and stuff. Otherwise, I just suggest you just do EV training. It's not really that bad. It is a whole lot worse on Pixelmon because of two reasons. Because the Pokemon spread is all over the place, and two Ghastlies. But it's basically just finding a situation like this where you can just easily farm a given type of Pokemon that gives you your EV stat that you're after. Another downside to it is there's no chaining, because chaining in like Sun and Moon, for example, you instantly get an extra double effect. I got paralyzed. I'm going to have to head back. I've got to get rid of that paralyze. But we're getting, like I said, we're getting 10 EVs per kill, which actually isn't too bad. I don't think so. And for example, I got Space Mail. Thank you, Fanpy. And just for an example, I'm going to pop into Game Mode C here, and we're going to grab our editor again, and I'm going to show you, if we take a look at our Nidorino Advanced, whoa, really? How did this happen? We're already up to 252 special. I have not beaten 25 or 26 Ghastlies. Unless there's something else at work that I'm not familiar with. Like maybe the Nether. I know Ultra Space gives you bonuses. I'm not sure if it gives you bonuses to EV training, but I know the Ultra Space gives you a bonus. I'm not sure if the Nether maybe gives you a bonus. I'm not for sure. But that's awesome. That's awesome. Sadly, I don't have a power lens for anything. I mean, I don't have the power items for anything except special attack. I have 2 power lenses, but I've never gotten any of the others. So, okay, so in that case, That means we're done. So let's head on back. But I'm having too much fun on here. And now that I'm on breeding, I've been on here just non-stop. It's bad for me. It's so bad for me. Again, that's the 8th time today that Pokemon has spawned here. Hey! I see a Mega Alakazam. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to dump you off, Phanpy. I'm going to grab a couple filler Pokemon. Yeah. Really quick. Oh, and I don't need to use my Nidorino on this. I need to just open up with Houndoom. Which I guess it's not going to matter because Alakazam is a special attack EV Pokemon. So, which this one, I think is just the yellow name. Oh, and these are all fainted. Let me go fix that real quick. There's Melota. Which, I used up all my Pokeballs earlier. Ultra Balls. And I'm not going to worry about that Melota. It's so common for it to spawn here that I'm really just not worried about it. Disable. Good. I haven't used anything yet. So that's awesome. And this should be a pretty easy win. Just like when I was fighting Final Form Frieza earlier. Really easy win. Anything Psychic type against my Houndoom tends to be pretty easy. Alakazam's a little bit tougher. Oh, seriously? This one knows Teleport. That's going to be really annoying, actually. Oh my gosh, you. You better not teleport away or I'm going to be very furious. Okay, cool. Haha! Alright. And Houndoom leveled up. And we got Foul Play. That is actually a really good one. Yeah, Feint Attack never misses. I don't know what else. Because if you have a physical attacking Pokemon, it's super useful. But we didn't get another Mega Alakazam. Oh yeah, because that was a legendary. They don't always drop the Mega Stones, I've noticed. But we got an Ender Pearl, we got a Rare Candy, and we got a Zap Plate. Another Zap Plate. Which honestly, the Rare Candy, most exciting part about that. So, and look, this is from all my Phanpy training. I have lots of just junk now that is built up. Okay, so our Nidorino is done with its special attack EV training. Now, I am going to have to do the Nidoran female now and do the same process. I'm going to do that off camera. One thing I do want to do, though, before I do a little bit of off-camera work, and I also have to figure out for sure what stat. I'm going to take another look, actually, at their stats real quick. And I just want to make sure that I've got these written down correctly so that I can base it off of that, because I may make up for some weaknesses that they've got with some of my EVs. So the Nidorino, this is the one I'm pretty sure I wrote down. I wrote down the wrong one. I wrote down the other one because I was just comparing. So this one is 31. And that one, I'm really happy about this one. I mean, like I said, the special defense, a little bit low for my taste. But that's not a bad spread for it to just be shot in the dark kind of breeding. Just, here we go, let's try it. And then the female was like that. Okay. But let's take a look here at our Nidorino. And you can see that its stats here. It's got 55 HP, 28 attack. It's got 29 defense, 44 special attack. So the combination of the EVs, the nature, having that 23 stat in the special attack, it's caused the special attack to be noticeably higher than any other stat here. Special defense at 27 and speed at 33. Okay. Now let's go ahead and evolve it. And this is the Moonstone. You know, I talked about this before. I was having to forage for this. I actually have to. I need to forage up 8 more of these shards. In fact, fun times. But we can go ahead and just right-click this, and it's going to evolve our Nidorino, because I'm actually not using any level-up skills, so it doesn't matter. Sometimes you want to hold off evolving or evolve sooner based on when it gets certain skills. But in my case, I'm not worried about any of that because none of the skills that I want come from that. So, I mean, I'm actually pretty happy because if we take a look here at the stats on this, you can see the growth is giant on our Nidoking, on our Nidoking. I'm not sure about the Nidoran female, what her growth is. Huge. Okay, so we're going to have big Nidokings and Nidoqueens. So just to give you an idea, look at that. It's humongous compared to me. And I can ride around inside of it. Room! It's pretty fast, actually. But it is a land mount. Both Nidoking and Nidoqueen are both land mounts. So, okay, so I'll be back once I get the Nidoran female all sorted out. Yes, hold that. And I don't think that... She doesn't have Pokerus right now. I'm hoping that she catches it because all of this Pokerus is still active. Basically, Pokerus is like a disease, so it will spread through party Pokemon. For the first few days of it being active, depending on the strain and stuff. So I'm hoping that she'll catch Pokerus. I hope so, but we'll see. We shall see. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a Macho Brace because he's going to need it for the next EV training that we do. Okay, I just want to bring you guys back because Izza met up with me. It was a bit of a flight. But Izza met up with me, and they had an extra Moonstone. Or they had a Moonstone that they weren't using. And so I gave him a rare candy for it. Oh, there's Mega Ampharos. I'm not taking it on, though, because I don't really have a Pokemon that I really feel comfortable taking it on with, honestly. I don't have my team with me. I've just got a bunch of random Pokemon on me. But anyways, so got the last Moonstone. Got Nidorina evolved. It is done EV training now, which is great. And now I can I can run around as Nidoking or Nidoqueen and have the other one follow me around. So, yay. Okay, and back at home, I've been debating about how I want to use my other EVs with Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Because right now, you can see defensively, and I looked at their level 100 stats. I plugged in which we're going to go over that. It's probably going to be next episode when we go over plugging your stuff into a team builder and kind of getting an idea of what you're going to be looking at with a level 100 and really sitting down and planning things out from their held items to their natures to their abilities to their moves and everything. We're going to be going over that next episode because since about the time of episode 3 when I decided, okay, I'm doing a poison gym, and I was sure of it, I've had my stuff plugged into a team builder, and I've kind of tweaked it. I actually dropped a Pokemon that was on there, and we'll go over that next episode. But I've been thinking about how I want to build my Nidoking and Nidoqueen. Like I said, they're both going to be special attackers, and I forgot to show you the Sheer Force. This is their ability. Before it was the Hassle, or whatever. What was it? I already forgot what that ability was before. Hustle. I knew Hassle sounded wrong, but it's close. But you'll notice that their Hustle turned into an ability called Sheer Force. And what it does is it removes additional effects to increase move damage. And what this means is any attacks they have, like for example, if you take a look at Houndoom, Fire Fang, it says this the user bites with flame cloaked fangs. This may also make the target flinch or leave it with a burn. Basically what Sheer Force would do is it would remove that second sentence. This may make the target flinch or leave it with a burn. You would no longer get the chance to burn it or make it flinch. But in exchange, any attack that it removes that effect from gets a bonus of 0.3 damage. So 30% extra damage in exchange for not being able to have that secondary effect come off of that. So it's a big damage increase to the Pokemon, and it's going to be amazing whenever we couple it with the rest of the stuff that we're going to be putting on there. But Nidoking and Nidoqueen are nice because they are gods of TM learning and move learning. They can learn all sorts of moves with a lot of coverage between the two. So anyways, I was debating about how I wanted to build these because, I knew I wanted the special attack, but I wasn't sure if I want to go HP, defense, special defense, speed. I like a lot of speed, but I don't think I want a lot of speed on them. I think I'd rather go kind of more tanky with them. And so what I've decided to do is Needle Queen is actually going to specialize in special defense. She has a higher special defense as is, but I'm going to spec her for special defense and spec Needle King for physical defense. That way I kind of have them to switch out based on the situation. And then the leftover points I'm probably just going to dump into probably HP, honestly. Which I know HP is Caterpie, right? Yeah, it's the same with Pixelmon. I was just checking. Now for physical defense, I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be farming, and I'm going to do this pretty much off camera. You can see I've got the Macho Braces equipped. And we are going to be farming Metapods and Kakunas. Let's see. Most of these around here are speed. That's the worst thing. Like Rattata, Raticate are all speed. Pidgeys are all speed. But yeah, so we're going to be just hunting down Metapods and Kakunas. And the nice thing, though, is Metapods and Kakunas are worth 2 EVs. Whereas, you know, Ghastly, whenever I was farming Ghastly, and it's possible some of these other ones are defense. I mean, there's such a wide spread of Pokemon types that you can run into within Pixelmon. Because there's like, in each biome, there's like a ton of them. I have a feeling you're chasing me. But, yeah, I think if we go for Metapods and Kakunas, they're kind of uncommon, but they're not terrible to find. As for the special defense for the Needle Queen, okay, so that's actually pretty easy. Ladybug is worth 1 point for special defense. So what we'll do then is any Ladybugs we find, we'll pop out Needle Queen and then switch off, and then any Metapods will switch over, and Metapods and Kakunas will switch over to Needle King. They're a little bit more uncommon, but they also give more points, so that should be fine. I'm not going to mess with that right now, but probably here soon I might just start beating the Pokemon down with that Pokemon. Because they're going to be pretty strong with their with their stats and their sheer force and stuff. Of course, I don't have the moves on them yet, or the held item, which is going to make a big difference, but this should be fine. But okay, so I'm going to spend a while grinding this out, and I got to be really, really careful, especially doing 2 of these at a time, and looking for multiple Pokemon types. I need to make sure that I'm not throwing out the wrong Pokemon in the wrong place. If that does happen, I can always use berries to bring it back down, but I want to try to avoid that. So, but anyways, I'm going to grind for a while. I might pop into creative here and there just to make sure I'm not going above what I'm after. Of course, 252, it's going to max out. I can't go any higher than that. But I don't want to waste a bunch of time, you know, trying to farm Kakunas and Metapods when I just don't need them, you know. And also keeping an eye to make sure that I don't get some EVs in the wrong spots. So, but anyways, I'll be back in a bit. Okay, good news. My defenses are done, and I checked the EVs, and here's the nice thing. We just updated the pack. We no longer have to go into creative mode to check our IVs. All we gotta do is type EV/EVs and then pick our party slot. So if we want to take a look at, space 1, that's Nidoqueen's EVs. So 0, 0, 0, 252, 252, 0, and you can see that our total is 504 out of 510, so 98%. And then EVs 2 is Nidokings. So we have 0, 0, 252, 252, 6, and 0. The reason he's already got his other 6. Of course, bear in mind that only 4 of those points actually matter. 2 of those points are just kind of there, I guess. I don't know. Basically, as I guess maybe if you make a minor mistake, you don't have to worry about, you know, if I accidentally had killed a Caterpie and I didn't have, you know, Pokerus or the Macho Brace equipped or something, you know, I'd have a little bit of leeway there. But I went ahead and got his because he finished his a good time before Needle Queen's finished hers on special defense, and I was planning on getting his other points in special defense and so then he had just a little bit of extra special defense because that extra point, there's not a whole lot that you can do with it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's 1 point in something. You can get 1 HP, or you can get 1 defense or 1 special defense, but I feel like the defense would maybe make the biggest difference. Now, Needle Queen, she still has her 6 left, and I'm going to do the same thing with her. I'm actually just going to take a point in defense. I will say that after I cut, I went ahead and just looked up most of the Pokemon that spawn in this area, which I'm glad I did because there's Scatterbug. Scatterbug is a defense type. He was actually one of the main ones that was raising Nidoking's defense. Because they're pretty common at night, those Scatterbugs are. And honestly, at night, there's not a whole lot spawning that I can use for special defense or defense. Special defense took the longest, like I said. What I ended up grinding for it was, I grinded Ladybuzz, but I also grinded Hoppips, Burmese, and Flababes. So the little flowers, they're pretty common, especially right in here. I found a lot of Flababes in this little area back in here. But and then for defense, I was doing Metapods, Kakunas, Silcoons, and Cascoons, and Scatterbugs, and yeah, and I'm forgetting about a couple of them, but it's been a long day. It has actually been since earlier in I don't know, probably the episode before this or something, when I said that I was going to be going to sleep. Yeah, it's been like 24 hours since then, and I've pretty much been working on this nonstop, trying to find. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, it actually probably doesn't matter. If we look at EVs 1, yeah, we have 4 defense EVs, so we've got 2 left over. Like I said, those 2 are just kind of floating EVs, so it actually doesn't matter if we put them in defense. Just for keeping things clean, I am going to put them into defense, so surprised I'm not being able to find any Scatterbugs right now. Okay, it's a level 61. Fun times. It shouldn't be too bad. I've got my monster Fanpy. Oh, and I did get some new TMs. And so the new update came out. So we have those commands. But in addition, TMs are now reusable. That was something that was added. I got another lucky egg. Yeah, I didn't have that. I have one, but that's a new one. So I got a Quick Claw. I also got Choice Specs. I got Quash. And I got Shockwave TMs. And I actually taught Shockwave to Nidoking. We're not going to keep that, but I taught it to him just to make sure that basically just to make sure that the TMs were working correctly, and they are reusable. So they are reusable, and you'll also notice a little button down there at the bottom right. That is the Pokemon trading card game. It's now added, so you can basically, whenever you defeat Pokemon, you get points. Once you get 50 of all points, so it does take a bit of battling Pokemon, but you get a booster pack of a random card, or you can pick specific packs and get 300. So we do have the trading card game in the pack as well. That was added. So just kind of for fun. Okay, finally found a Metapod. It actually took a while, and I don't even need these points or anything. I just like to keep it clean and make sure there's not a big mess of points. That it's a whole lot easier to just look and say, okay, that's these. Okay, so now if we take a look, EVs 1, 510 out of 510, 100% done, and then EVs 2, 100% done. I was pretty careful when I went through and did it. I will say that training these, I could have probably really looked through and found a better place to do defense and special defense. I don't know about doing them both together. I mean, this place actually turned out pretty good for doing defense and special defense side by side. With the variety of Pokemon that I had at my disposal. Granted, I could have maybe searched through and found something a little bit better, but it actually didn't take me too long. I want to say it took maybe 2 hours-ish to EV train these guys up. I will say in like base Pokemon, you can do your EV training like say Sun and Moon when you can chain Pokemon together. You can actually do all of your Pokemon EV training for a Pokemon, and I mean we're talking all 3 stats you want to do. You can literally do it in like 20 minutes, like no joke. But that's okay. Like if you're chaining and you have your item and you have Pokerus, it's like massive EVs, and you can literally do it all in the same battle because you never have to leave the battle because you can just keep chaining Pokemon together. But yeah. But anyways, I mean that's kind of like I said, we're gonna do a little bit more focus on IVs when we make our personal team, and then long term we may bump up the IVs on these, and basically if we want to bump the IVs, we got to start all over. Level 1 Pokemon and do it all over again. But I don't mind it. Like I said, I like breeding. I like training Pokemon. So that doesn't bother me a bit. But at this point, we can just freely level these. I can take this off. I can drop this lucky egg onto our Nidoqueen. I guess I'm going to give that one to Houndoom. But we can just start leveling these. You'll notice they didn't get a whole lot of levels while I was EV training because a lot of these bugs are like level 8. And I was actually using the Nidoqueen and the Nidoqueen and the Nidoking to kill most of the Pokemon off, but at the same time, like I said, they weren't high enough level to really net much XP. They didn't get many levels, but at this point now we can just level them, and we don't have to worry about any kind of special training or anything like that. They just need to hit level 100. We also need to get their items and their moves. Okay, so next episode, we're actually going to end out this episode here. I'm sure my footage is, I'm sure it's wrapping up point, basically. But next episode, whenever we come back, we are going to spend one more episode-ish, maybe 2, depending on how long one thing in particular takes. But we are going to spend some time doing the rest of the stuff. Basically for the Nidoking and Nidoqueen, getting them ready to go, or as much as we can. I've still got to level them and stuff, and I won't be doing most of that on camera. It's going to take a while. Well, to be fair, I got my Fan to 56, and that was only in like half a day, really, of active leveling. So I don't know, we'll see. But and that was not holding a lucky egg either, which is a 50% boost to the XP gain. But next episode, we are going to see about getting their items, getting into those, and then also getting into some of their moves. I don't know if we'll get all of it done, but we'll get a start on it, and I can talk you through it. And then I also want to take you to the team planner that I've got, the layout that I've got, and we're going to talk through the gym team that I'm going to be working on. I mean, it's still going to be a while before it's done. We do have to start building the gym before too long, as well as a number of other things. But I do want to go ahead and reveal the team that I've come up with, or team-ish. I may not have decided on the 6th one because I cut a Pokemon. I'll talk about it next episode. I cut a Pokemon out of the team, so but we'll see. So, anyways, I am going to end this big long spree of Pokemon training. I'm going to end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button. And go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And just a fun fact. Basically everything after we started breeding with the Everstone and the Modest Nature, because I basically set them to breed and then I went to sleep. I got up, so all the rest of this since then has been in one sitting, basically. I mean, I've stood up, but it's been in just one go. So fun times, fun times. A lot of work, but anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe. I'll see you guys then.